Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors 119-117 win against the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, this game was wild. It was all-around thriller for the Raptors, and let's just get straight into it. You know, the team, for most of this game, the Toronto Raptors were up. They had the lead. It was pretty handled. You know, there's some great plays. Siakam, Kawhi, all those players. Our whole starting unit played well, but we'll get into the individual players after. You know, most of the game, the Toronto Raptors were up. Looked like they had a good grip on this game. The Portland Trail Blazers are a team that are coming into this one super hot. I believe they're on a 5-game win streak. You know, they're one of the top teams in the Western Conference. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. The Portland Trail Blazers roster is a very strong team, so this was going to be a good one going into it. But the Toronto Raptors had a good handle on this one until the fourth quarter. And we all know in the fourth quarter, Damian Lillard loves to go insane. CJ McCollum was great all night. So this became a very, very fun battle. And down the stretch, this was a game where we really see how this veteran presence, all the moves that Masai Ujiri made, they came into action. This is the reason why we made these moves. You know, it hurts to get rid of Jonas. It hurts to get rid of DeMar. It hurt. You know, those guys are people you've grown bonds with, and it sucks. It sucks as a fan that you root for a guy for so long and they're traded. But you know, these are the players that are gonna get it done. They can be relied upon because this had a playoff type atmosphere. The Portland Trail Blazers gave everything that they got. You know, Damian Lillard is known for just being absolutely a clutch master, and he was that tonight. You know, in games like this, you need people that are composed, experienced, and can go blow for blow down the stretch of a game. And let's just get straight into it. Kawhi Leonard was absolutely ridiculous tonight. He is showing why he's a top 5 NBA player. 38 points for Kawhi Leonard, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 14 of 22 from the field, 2 for 4 from the three-point line. Man, he's just absolutely ridiculous. You know, CJ McCollum was going off this game, and then Kawhi Leonard guarded him, got a lot of run on him in the fourth quarter. You know, played really good defense, kind of slowed him down a good bit despite CJ. You know, CJ had about 35 points himself. But Kawhi, where it really came down, because Kawhi, throughout the flow of the game, he gets his teammates involved. He's not a very, you know, ball dominant. You know, he runs ISOs and all that, but he's not a guy where you need to give him the ball every possession. You know, James Harden-esque player. Kawhi Leonard just lets everything flow, lets everyone get their games going, but when it really matters, when you need buckets and you need someone to take over, he takes over. And the fourth quarter, Damian Lillard's that same sort of guy, and you know, it's very few people in the league can go blow for blow with Damian Lillard down the stretch when he is hot, and Kawhi Leonard did that, and he outclassed Damian Lillard tonight, hit mid-range jump shots, step backs, contested ones. Everything. Every possible shot Kawhi Leonard could hit, fadeaway and one shots from underneath the net. Kawhi Leonard did that, and it was so exciting. I can't believe we have a player of this caliber on the roster who's just all around. You know, you see him and you're like, that's a top 5 guy. That's an MVP. That's an MVP caliber player right there. And it's so exciting. It's so exciting to be able to root for a guy that you know will get it done. We'll get it done. We'll talk about the final play later in the segments. And another guy that was absolutely awesome tonight, Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol got his second start as a Raptor, I believe, and this was his best game as a Raptor. I think that's fair to say. He led the team in plus-minus, 19 points for him, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. And this is what, because we made a video debating about who should start at the center position for the Toronto Raptors, and you know, games like this are the reason that I think Marc Gasol is the best fit for the starting unit. Obviously, if Serge Ibaka is going to struggle to this extent, and obviously the Portland Trail Blazers aren't a great matchup for him, as you know, they have big lumbering guys that bully underneath the rim. They have more traditional centers with Nurkic, but you know, obviously we need Serge playing at a high level. But one game, I'm not worried about Serge. He's been great all year. But Marc Gasol, his ability to just create plays for the starting unit, it's ridiculous. You know, when this starting unit was out there, because I think this is our best lineup that we can put on the floor. You know, the Kyle Lowry, Kawhi Leonard, Siakam, Danny Green, and Marc Gasol. Just the playmaking and how people move when Marc Gasol is running that center position, because Serge Ibaka can certainly get buckets and play defense and be a phenomenal starting center in the league. But where Marc Gasol really, you know, game is to another level is his ability to create. And we see Kyle Lowry making cuts. We see Kawhi Leonard making cuts, and that's where he got a lot of his points, especially early in his career in San Antonio. And Marc Gasol is capable of being able to throw those backdoor passes. And the offense just looks so much smoother when he's out there being able to throw those dimes, and it opens up the floor for everyone else. I think that's why everyone in the starting unit played very well today. And, you know, he can get buckets, obviously. Marc Gasol, 9 of 13 from the field. I mentioned it, 19 points. He's a beast. He's an absolute beast out there. Phenomenal on defense. The way he hedges those screens, you know, I think Serge Ibaka is more of the more mobile, vertical defender, the shot blocking guy. But positioning wise, all that sort of stuff, Marc Gasol is there. Marc Gasol gets those W's for the Toronto Raptors, makes the right defensive plays. He took a timely charge at the end of this game. And I mentioned it, the way he hedges screens. That's a very underrated skill to have as a big man in the NBA. And, there's some people, especially the way Jonas is playing in Memphis, which is awesome. I love to see Jonas playing well, but Jonas isn't going to get as many touches with the Raptors if he were to remain on this team, so scoring numbers wouldn't be as lucrative. And the big issue with Jonas, especially down the stretch of games, is people go at him in the pick and roll. That's Jonas's biggest flaw, and Marc Gasol, he's not affected by that. He's not the most mobile guy, but his positioning and knowing where to be, and just he harasses the ball handler on those screens. It's a great thing to see, and CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard are phenomenal. Phenomenal ball handlers, can shoot the three. Those are legit NBA. That's a legit NBA backcourt, and Marc Gasol could really handle them in the pick and roll. So I'm super excited to see him get some run in the starting unit. He definitely deserves more minutes, regardless if Serge consistently starts or Gasol does. Siakam, another great night for him. Not too many shots needed for Pascal, the way especially Kawhi was cooking, but 4 of 8 from the field, 16 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Exactly the type of game we want to see out of Siakam. Knocked down a couple threes. His three-point shooting has been ridiculous in the corners. I think it's fair to say he's become automatic in the corners. Those open corner threes, Siakam's ready to knock them down. It's pretty wild to see where he was at, because last year I remember he had one of the worst three-point shooting percentages in NBA history for a stretch there, for people that shot that, a certain number of threes. Regardless, to be where he's at now, post All-Star break, he's shooting over 70% from the three-point line. That's absolutely amazing. Pascal Siakam is out here proving everyone why he should have been an all-star, I can't believe it. Spicy P is out here killing it, man. This whole team's got me so excited. The more I think about this game, the more I think about this roster, how we're going into the playoffs with such a stacked powerhouse team. This is so good. It's so good for just as a Toronto Raptors fan. Danny Green's hitting shots as well. And I mentioned it, Kawhi Leonard went blow for blow, especially with Damian Lillard down the fourth quarter of this game. Danny Green, he has his good games where he's, close to 20 points and hitting 7 threes or something like that. He has some poor games, where he'll hit 1 to 2 threes, 6 points around there. 11 points for him tonight, an average game. But the thing you can always count on with Danny Green is hitting a clutch 3 down the stretch. If the game is close and you need a trade ball to happen, Danny Green got that ice in his veins. He can certainly knock it down whenever you need a bucket, and he did tonight, a very, very necessary corner 3. He was given the ball, and I think it tied the game up after the Blazers were hitting some wild shots. So shout out to Danny Green. He's such a stable presence on the court. And, the bench wasn't super great tonight. The guy that really played well off the bench was Jeremy Lin, and he didn't necessarily have the biggest game. He had 8 points. The thing about Jeremy Lin, which is really impressive about his game, is he creates shots. There's some players that they get 6 to 8 points, but a lot of their points are just created by other people. They'll catch some dump offs and all they have to do is make an easy dunk, or they get layups. Jeremy Lin creates seemingly all of his points. He's very good in the mid kind of semi-post area where he can bounce off people and shoot those fadeaway elbow corner mid-range jump shots. So that's very encouraging to see, especially in the playoffs, because you need players that can create their own shots in the playoffs and also facilitate for others. Obviously, didn't have the biggest assist game tonight, only 1 assist, but he still is out there making plays. And when him and Kyle Lowry are on the court together, it's a sight to behold. They know where they're at, and despite not having that much chemistry, and obviously they haven't played with each other that much, I believe this is the 5th game with Lin, I might be mistaken, but the way that they pass and create for each other, it's really nice to see 2 point guard lineups, and the Raptors love to run that. Serge Ibaka didn't have the greatest game tonight, but I mentioned it earlier, he'll bounce back. He's a phenomenal player. Norman Powell missed a couple threes, but he had that great game against the Celtics. The 3-point shooting's inconsistent with Norman Powell, but he made a couple of really nice slashes, and despite the lower box scores, the eye test shows when Norman Powell is playing well and is playing poorly. He's had a couple poor games as of late, but tonight I wouldn't categorize it as a poor game. Norman Powell, he had a couple of nice slashes, I believe he had a dunk and a finish around the rim, but he didn't force anything per se. He made some nice kickouts. I believe he got Kyle Lowry an open 3 in the corner. Norman Powell, if he's making the right plays, I don't care if he scores every shot, because he's a positive when he's on the court because of his defense, if he's making the right plays on offense, regardless if the shots goes in. Patrick McCaw, 11 minutes, 0 points, but he's not out there to get points. And it might not translate to playoff minutes if he can't score on a consistent basis, but the way he plays defense and the winning plays that he makes might just get him on the court in the playoffs, because he gets these plays. He just makes winning plays. I don't know if it's a Warriors basketball, if it's his game. He seems to poke the ball loose at least once or twice from a player every game, and it doesn't show up in the steals category. Well, he had 3 steals tonight. So tonight it showed up in the steals category, but he had 0 assists, but it seemingly gets a hockey assist on every possession he's out there. I'm very intrigued by Patrick McCaw. If he can just develop his offensive game, he's a young guy on this roster that I could really see having a future with this Toronto Raptors team. I love this roster. OG Anunoby, not the biggest game for him tonight, only took 2 shots. I would like to see OG be more aggressive. He had a really nice play where he took it to the rim. I think he could really use his slashing, but regardless, his defense is always top notch. And one player, I didn't talk about him earlier. But Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry, my goodness, my favorite player of all time, besides Steve Nash. But certainly he's come out here on a night-by-night basis for the past few games. He does what the Raptors need. He's out here playing like an all-star, and people that are bashing Kyle Lowry, you can hear us talking about the trade videos and all that sort of stuff. I did not want the Raptors to trade Kyle Lowry. I don't know what Riker's opinion on it was specifically, but I was extremely frustrated when there's those rumors going around that the Raptors are trying to trade Kyle Lowry. He was injured for a stretch of the season, and maybe unless obviously we got a superstar, then that's fair. But we're not getting a high trade value. His trade value is not super high right now, and Kyle Lowry does these sorts of things that are winning plays. And when he's healthy, because he's finally looking healthy, and we've been saying it, once Kyle Lowry gets healthy, he's good. That's the only issue with him. If he remains healthy, he is a legitimate star point guard in this league. He's a 5-time All-Star, and he did all those plays tonight. 19 points for Kyle Lowry, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, a super clutch shot down the stretch. All the defense was focused on Kawhi. Kyle Lowry took it in the paint and threw that finger roll that was super high arcing, and when Kyle Lowry is the perfect point guard for this team if he's healthy. He got blocks. You have one block on, I forget who it was, maybe Mo Harkless, and he just swatted out of bounds. He's getting super hyped. He's a bulldog. He gets everyone going, and he can get buckets when we need it. He hit 3 threes tonight. Shout out to Kyle Lowry. I decided to speak on him last. He's the man. Kyle Lowry's the man. But enough of me rambling. We're going to swing it straight into the segments. And tonight, the Kawhi you do him like that play of the day. It's going to Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, was super clutch in the fourth quarter, going blow for blow with Damian Lillard. And for the people that were saying, there's a lot of the media saying that Kawhi Leonard couldn't hit clutch shots. I saw a stat last week that was saying that Kawhi Leonard is, I don't know how they defined a clutch shot, but he was leading the league in clutch shots or game winner. I don't really know how they specified it. So, but the numbers show that Kawhi Leonard's doing it, and he hits these game winners. He had that one maybe, I believe he dribbled off his foot once at the beginning of the season, then that maybe that narrative took over, and then Skip Bayless starts talking about him on Undisputed. Regardless, Kawhi Leonard is one of the clutchest players in the NBA. You see it in his time in San Antonio, and he's hit a bunch of game winners for us this season. And tonight was the same thing. He hit that fadeaway down the stretch. There's some shady stuff going on. We're getting the DeMar Carroll Gold Star later, but some stuff was happening. It wasn't looking good for the Toronto Raptors, but Kawhi Leonard is a winner. He makes winning plays, and tonight, game winner for Kawhi Leonard. Literally took the game in his own hands. Nice fadeaway over the, there's just players where things happen because they're so good. They're just so good. They're top 5 level, and their greatness just makes these great plays happen. And regardless if it's the right play, regardless of the right shot, a fadeaway from Kawhi Leonard, it's going in if it's game winner. So shout out to Kawhi. I'm super happy that he's on the roster. But not all plays can be the Kawhi you do him like that play of the day, and some just make you say, oh, geez. And tonight, the OG's plays of the day, it's going to Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, all those 3-point shots they were hitting. And this wasn't a game where the Toronto Raptors, they got the best of a team that was struggling or whatever. The Portland Trailblazers came to play tonight. They looked very good. I got to give credit where credit's due. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum hit a bunch of shots. As Damian Lillard in the fourth quarter particularly, and CJ McCollum throughout the whole game. CJ had 7 threes, Dame had 3, 35 and 24 for 2 of them. The Portland Trailblazers are a really good team. They're a very underrated roster. I know as Raptors fans, they had kind of the backcourt underrated team. They're always looked over, and you can kind of relate to the Blazers, especially when we had our superstar backcourt for the past stretch of seasons. So I've always been a big fan of the Blazers. I really like their team, and just the shots that they were hitting certainly made me say, "Oh, geez." But we just got to swing it straight into it. The DeMar Carroll Gold Star Award tonight. People that listen to the pod, the continuous listeners of the Raptors Digest, we love you. But you guys know, especially me, I hate blaming referees for things that happen. I hate bashing on them, but certainly tonight there was some shady calls. There was some shady stuff down the end of this game. I by no means am I saying this game was rigged. I don't think the refs were out to get the Toronto Raptors by anything, but there's just an unfortunate stretch of calls. Damian Lillard got Siakam just hedged the screen, and then Damian Lillard bounced off him, but it was a clean hedge, and they called a foul there. Fine, whatever. It was unfortunate because the game's so tight. You call that, really? Kyle Lowry comes down, does that finger roll layup. Fortunately, because he's an absolute beast, he made the layup, but he got hacked on that one. Didn't get the call. There was a kickball called. I think that one was actually a good call, so I retract my statement upon that one. But the refs were getting the thick of it. Twitter was blowing up. But then the bad one happened. The Toronto Raptors up by 3. Damian Lillard, he made a nice move. He sold the contact on a shot, and from afar, I guess I could see why you make the call. But when you have the angle of the officials and you see the replay, Kyle Lowry did not touch Damian Lillard. He was not touched. And Damian Lillard, got three free points at the end of this game, but fortunately Kawhi Leonard, our savior, saved us at the end. But it would have been the game-tying shot, and that call was it was unfortunate. It was a super unfortunate thing. I know people are going ham at the refs, and there's some bad calls, but it's all you can do. I don't think by any means the game was rigged, and it would have been unfortunate if we ended up losing this one or went to overtime. But yeah, you get the DeMar Carroll Gold Star when there's bad reffing called. I'm not saying it's rigged or that everyone's out to get the Raptors, but it was some bad calls. Objectively, that's how it goes. Anyways, enough of me rambling about this game. This was so exciting, such a good one to watch. Credit to both teams. Both teams played really well. I really like the Portland Trailblazers out west. Very underrated team. But the Toronto Raptors, the whole roster's on fire. Everyone's cooking. Everyone that isn't cooking right now is going to be cooking going towards the playoffs. I love this team. Let me know what you guys think of this game, this roster. You're the best if you made it this far. Who's your favorite Toronto Raptor right now? Because I can't choose. I love the whole team. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. The Twitter has been blowing up. Shout out to my guy Danny Lovelace. He's been killing it on there. It's a great time to be a Toronto Raptors fan. Phenomenal time. You're the best. I'm signing off. Cheers.